Doomer's Alley. When I go out to take the trash, there is always something oddly captivating about the stretch of space between my building and the trash containers. It's roughly 200 meters long and it has this strange, almost surreal aesthetic to it. A mix of bleak Eastern European doomer video vibes and a whimsical LA cat fence style cartoon. The crumbling walls, the crooked fence, and the faded graffiti all seems like they're part of some forgotten storyboard. This peculiar area has become a haven for stray cats and dogs. It's their sanctuary, a place where they can rest and scavenge, but it's also their battleground, where rivalries and survival instincts come alive. Every visit to this little strip of urban wilderness feels like walking into the middle of an unspoken drama. This morning was no exception. It's the part of the day when sun fights the December. The first thing I noticed as I stepped outside with my trash bag was the tension in the air. The stray dogs and cats had taken up strategic positions. The dogs, larger and more confident, were prowling near the containers, their barks echoing off the nearby walls. The cats, smaller but no less fierce, were scattering across the shadows, their eyes glinting with defiance. It felt like a scene out of some post-apocalyptic animal kingdom. About halfway to the containers, I spotted the focal point of their standoff. A small pile of leftover food. Some kind tenants, myself included, occasionally leave scraps there for the strays. It's not much, just bits of bread or leftovers, but it's enough to draw these rivals together. Today the food seems to have become a symbol of control, a prize worth fighting for. I decided to hang back and watch the situation unfold from a small grove of trees near the fence. This little cluster of greenery is a curious spot in its own right, a makeshift retreat for people who come to smoke a certain special kind of tobacco. From this vantage point I could see everything without being noticed. The tension grew palpable. The dogs barked louder, pacing impatiently. The cats, however, stood their ground, purring in a way that sounded almost like growling. Their tails flickered sharply, their movements measured and deliberate. For creatures so much smaller than their canine rivals, they exuded an almost supernatural confidence. Then, just as the standoff reached its peak, something unexpected happened. From the rooftops, a flock of pigeons suddenly descended. They weren't just scavengers. They were like a chaotic aerial strike team. In a flurry of wings and feathers, they swooped down on the pile of food, snatched out every last crumb, and retreated back to their perches on the roof. The dogs stopped barking. The cats froze. Both sides stared upwards, seemingly stunned by this brazen act of death. And as for me, I couldn't help but laugh. The pigeons had played the ultimate trump card. So, the moral of the story? Forget about cats and dogs. It's the pigeons who really run this city. Or maybe Red Bull really does give you wings.